The Art Director's Debrief, Wuthering Heights Deconstructed, Episode 1, Anatomy of a Haunting. Hello, and welcome back to the Emotive Archive. Today we step away from the sunlit battlefields of France and journey to the wild, windswept, and savage moors of northern England. We are beginning our deconstruction of Emily Brontë's singular, ferocious masterpiece, Wuthering Heights. This is a novel that defies easy categorization. It has been called a romance, a tragedy, a work of social realism. But today, in our analysis of the opening 3 chapters, we will argue that before it is anything else, Wuthering Heights is a ghost story. It is a masterclass in the art of the uncanny, a story that begins not with love, but with a horrifying supernatural encounter that sets the stage for a tale of a passion so powerful it refuses to be contained by the boundaries of life and death. This is the anatomy of a haunting, a deep dive into the deliberate and brilliant artistic choices Brontë makes to unsettle, confuse, and ultimately captivate her reader from the very first page. Our guide into this strange world is Mr. Lockwood, and he is a brilliant choice of narrator. He is, in essence, a proxy for us, the civilized reader. He is a man from the city, a gentleman who values comfort, politeness, and social decorum. He comes to the moors seeking solitude, a quiet escape from a failed society romance. But what he finds is the opposite, a world of raw, untamed passion and brutal hostility. His 2 visits to Wuthering Heights are a descent into a world that operates by a different set of rules. The house itself is our first character. It is not a welcoming home, it is a fortress. The name Wuthering, as Lockwood notes, describes the atmospheric tumult to which its station is exposed in stormy weather. The house is a physical embodiment of the emotional storms that rage within its inhabitants. It is grim, dark, and inhospitable, a place where savage dogs roam freely and where the master, Heathcliff, treats his guest with a cold, simmering hostility. Brontë's description is deliberate. The architecture is strong, built to withstand a siege with narrow windows and immense cornerstones. It is a house built against the world, not as a part of it. Through Lockwood's eyes, we are introduced to the inhabitants of this strange fortress, and they are as unwelcoming as the house itself. Heathcliff is not presented as a romantic hero, but as a dark, brooding, and almost demonic figure. He is a dark-skinned gypsy, an outsider whose incivility is both shocking and intriguing. The young Catherine is beautiful but sullen, cold, and cruel. Hareton Arnshaw is a rough, uneducated brute. There is no warmth, no love, no sign of a functioning family. It is a household of ghosts, people haunted by a past we do not yet understand. Lockwood, with his civilized sensibilities, cannot comprehend this world. He tries to apply his own rules of polite society and fails comically and miserably. His attempts at small talk are met with silence. His efforts at charm are met with contempt. He is a man completely out of his depth, a visitor from another planet. This initial culture shock is crucial. It establishes Wuthering Heights not just as a place, but as a different state of being. A world governed by primal emotions, not by social rules. Trapped by a snowstorm, a classic Gothic device that enforces isolation, Lockwood is forced to spend the night. And it is here, in a small, unused bedchamber, that the novel's true, supernatural heart is revealed. This room is a time capsule, a museum of a lost soul. He discovers the names Catherine Earnshaw, Catherine Heathcliff, and Catherine Linton scratched into the paint. He finds the margins of old books filled with the diary entries of a wild, rebellious young girl. He is literally reading the ghosts of the past before he meets one. He falls asleep, and the barrier between the past and the present, between the living and the dead, dissolves completely. His first dream, about the preacher James Branderham, is a bizarre and surreal allegory. It is a critique of rigid, hypocritical religious authority, a theme that runs quietly through the novel. But it is the second dream that is the key to everything. He dreams he is woken by a branch tapping at the window. He reaches out to break it off, and his hand is seized by a little ice-cold hand. A child's voice, the voice of Catherine Earnshaw's ghost, is weeping, begging, "Let me in," for 20 years. This is a moment of pure, undiluted horror. It is terrifying not just because it is a ghost, but because of its raw, desperate emotion. This is not a vengeful specter. It is a lost, suffering soul, a wife trapped between worlds. Lockwood's reaction is one of brutal, selfish terror. He rubs the ghost's wrist on the broken pane until the blood runs down, a shockingly violent act. This dream is the central mystery of the novel. It is the inciting incident, and it culminates in the first true glimpse into Heathcliff's soul. When Lockwood screams, "Bring Heathcliff to the room," his initial reaction is fury. But when he hears the name Catherine, his anger dissolves into a display of the most profound, agonizing pain. He throws open the window and calls out into the storm, sobbing, "Cathy, do come! Oh, do, once more! Oh, my heart's darling, hear me this time!" In this single, desperate plea, we see the truth. Heathcliff is not just a cruel landlord, he is a man utterly and completely haunted, a soul tormented by a love so powerful it has survived death itself. The ghost is real to him. In conclusion, these first 3 chapters are a work of genius. Emily Brontë does not begin her story with a romance. She begins it with a haunting. She plunges us, and her narrator, into a world of mystery, violence, and supernatural sorrow. The central questions of the entire novel are all posed in this single terrifying night. Who is Catherine? Who is Heathcliff? And what is the terrible story that has turned them into these tormented, haunted beings? The rest of the novel will be the slow, tragic answer to the questions posed by this single, unforgettable ghost.
Now that we have anatomized the events of these opening chapters, let us elevate our analysis and propose a more radical thesis. The traditional reading sees Lockwood's dream as a supernatural event, a simple ghost story used to foreshadow the novel's tragic romance. But what if we were to deconstruct it further? What if the ghost of Catherine is not just the ghost of a dead girl? What if she is something more? Today, we will argue that the ghost of Catherine Earnshaw is not merely a character's spirit, but the living, breathing, and amoral embodiment of the wild, savage soul of the moors itself. The central conflict of Wuthering Heights, therefore, is not between lovers or families, but a far more ancient and profound battle, the eternal war between civilization and the untamable pagan wilderness. Let us first analyze the character of the moors. The landscape in this novel is not a passive backdrop, it is a living entity. It is a world of savage hills, of wind that howls and wuthers, of a nature that is not gentle or benevolent, but powerful, dangerous, and utterly indifferent to human suffering. This is not the pastoral, ordered nature of Jane Austen's England. This is a pre-Christian, almost pagan landscape, a place of raw, elemental forces. Now, consider the young Catherine Earnshaw as we see her in her own diary entries. She is not a civilized young lady. She is a wild child of the moors. She loves to run barefoot, to get caught in the rain, to live in a state of natural, untamed freedom, primarily with her soulmate, Heathcliff. She is, in essence, a human extension of the landscape itself, passionate, untamable, and driven by instinct rather than social convention. Her tragedy begins the moment she is exposed to the forces of civilization embodied by Thrushcross Grange and the Linton family. Thrushcross Grange is the antithesis of Wuthering Heights. It is a place of carpets, chandeliers, and refined manners. It is a world of social rules, of propriety, of taming the natural self to fit into an ordered society. When Catherine is bitten by their dog and forced to stay there, it is not just an accident, it is a symbolic moment of capture. Civilization literally sinks its teeth into her. The 5 weeks she spends there transform her. She returns not as a wild child, but as a lady. This is the beginning of a fatal split in her soul. She is now torn between her true wild nature, which belongs to Heathcliff and the moors, and her new civilized self, which desires the status and comfort offered by Edgar Linton. Her famous, agonizing decision to marry Edgar is the climax of this internal war. Her reason is purely social. It would degrade me to marry Heathcliff now. But her soul rebels against this choice. Her declaration, "I am Heathcliff, he's always, always in my mind," is not a statement of romantic love. It is a statement of essential identity. She is saying that Heathcliff is her untamed, natural self, the part of her
that belongs to the Moors. By choosing to marry Edgar, she is committing an act of spiritual suicide. She is betraying her own soul for the sake of social advancement. And it is this betrayal that kills her. She literally withers and dies when she is removed from her natural habitat and confined within the civilized walls of Thrushcross Grange. This brings us back to the ghost. The ghost that appears to Lockwood is not just the spirit of a dead woman seeking her lover. It is the untamed natural soul of Catherine that has been set free by death. It is the wildness of the Moors themselves, given a voice and a name. Its desperate cry, "Let me in," is not just a plea to enter a house. It is the cry of a primal, natural force, trying to break back into a civilized world that has rejected it. It has been a waif for 20 years, wandering the moors, its natural home. The ghost is not a Christian soul, it is a pagan elemental, a force of nature. And who is Heathcliff? He is the high priest of this pagan force. He is as much a creature of the moors as Catherine is. He is the dark-skinned gypsy, the outsider, the man who represents everything that civilized society fears and rejects. His love for Catherine is not a domestic, civilized love. It is a sublime, elemental bond, a union of two halves of the same savage soul. When Catherine dies, her ghost does not leave him. It becomes a part of him. He is the physical vessel for her untamed spirit. His entire campaign of revenge against the Lintons and the Earnshaws is not just a personal vendetta. It is the wild, amoral justice of the Moors lashing out against the civilized world that destroyed its heart. He is an instrument of a natural, pagan vengeance, a storm given human form. His final desire is not to go to heaven, but to be buried next to Catherine on the moors, to have their bodies dissolve and become one with the wild landscape they both belong to. The final image of the novel, of villagers seeing their ghosts walking the moors together, is not a happy ending. It is a final, chilling statement. The wild, untamable, and amoral forces of nature, of passion, of Wuthering Heights have triumphed. They cannot be destroyed or contained. They will forever haunt the edges of our civilized world. Through this lens, the novel becomes a profound and terrifying allegory. It is a warning about the danger of betraying one's own true nature for the sake of social conformity, and a testament to the enduring, savage power of the passions that lie just beneath the fragile veneer of our civilization. Thank you for joining me in the Emotive Archive.